Welcome to Mobile Home Friend YouTube channel, your go-to resource for everything manufactured housing.
Welcome to another deep dive from Mobile Home Friend. Today, we are looking at mobile home inspection red flags based on our latest research at mobilehomefriend.com. Let's jump right in because we have some absolutely crucial ground to cover.
Okay, so picture this. You walk into a beautiful manufactured home. I mean, the walls are freshly painted, you've got brand new carpets, and hey, maybe there are even some trendy light fixtures hanging from the ceiling. It looks absolutely perfect, right? But what if I told you that all those gorgeous cosmetic updates might actually be a cleverly disguised trap? You really need to ask yourself, is that fresh paint hiding a $15,000 secret? Because honestly, when it comes to older mobile homes, the things you can't see are exactly what can completely bankrupt you. This perfectly illustrates the massive divide between what we naturally want to see and what we actually need to be evaluating. On one side, you've got the superficial stuff. The fresh paint, the new carpets, those shiny luxury vinyl planks. It's eye candy, right? But on the flip side is your structural reality. A level steel chassis, a bone-dry underbelly, and solid subfloors. Listen, a clean-looking home with a few $1,000s in cosmetic fixes can still be hiding massive underlying structural rot. If you're only focusing on the superficial cosmetics, you are taking a huge risk. You could literally be buying a complete money pit.
Section 1. Water damage and subfloors.
Now, the absolute crucial thing to look out for right beneath your feet is the actual material itself. If you're looking at a mobile home built before the mid-1980s, well, you're likely standing on particle board subflooring. And here's the kicker. When this specific material that's wet from even a tiny, minor plumbing leak, it doesn't just warp like normal would. No, it loses 100% of its shear strength. It literally dissolves into what I like to call a sawdust paste sponge cake. It's just a total structural failure waiting to happen. And as we noted on the site, this hidden moisture breeds toxic mold. So the big takeaway here is the brutal price tag attached to missing this defect during an inspection. If you get lured in by cheap, shiny flooring that was simply slapped right over top of that spongy sawdust paste, you could be triggering the ultimate $15,000 mold trap repair bill. Because at that point, you're not just replacing flooring. Oh no, you are ripping everything out, cutting all the way back to the floor joists, installing new blocking, and laying down brand new exterior-grade plywood. It is a huge headache.
Moving on to Section 2. Foundations and marriage walls.
You know, the core foundation of a factory-built home behaves entirely differently from a traditional site-built house. It relies on a flexible steel chassis that constantly moves, shifts, and redistributes weight dynamically. And attached to that chassis is the belly wrap. Basically, it's the bottom board protective layer underneath the floor structure. Its main job? Keeping your fiberglass insulation securely in place while keeping ground moisture, feral cats, and wild opossums out. Because trust me, the absolute last thing you want is an opossum redecorating your insulation. But here is the catch. When shifting foundation piers cause massive twisting stress on the home, this underbelly wrap can literally tear wide open, leaving your wooden subfloor totally exposed and vulnerable.
So you're probably wondering, how do you actually spot an unlevel, failing foundation without having to crawl underneath the home in the dirt? Well, I want you to step heavily as you walk through the property and actively test these 3 physical indicators. Number 1, check for sticking interior doors. Number 2, look up. Check for wide cracks at the center marriage wall. You know, that central seam where the 2 halves of a double wide actually meet. And number 3, feel for sloped or unusually bouncy floors. If that foundation is dropping, it places massive torsional stress on the framing, which is exactly what causes all of these visible symptoms.
Next up, Section 3, hidden mechanical deal breakers. Okay, so now we are moving from the physical bones of the house to its hidden nervous system. This timeline is an absolute must-know. We call it the polybutylene danger era. Before 1978, standard, safe plumbing materials were used. But right between 1978 and 1995, manufacturers started installing cheap, gray polybutylene plumbing pipes. And let me tell you, these pipes are notorious for sudden, entirely unpredicted microfracture failures that can catastrophically flood a home in a matter of minutes. And notice that 2026 risk level? The threat is so severe today that a lot of insurance companies will flat out refuse to issue a policy on a home that still has these gray pipes hiding inside the walls. No way, they just won't touch it. And then, of course, we have the electrical system. You really need to look out for these specific red flags. We're talking obsolete Federal Pacific or Zinsco breaker panels, silver aluminum wiring from the 60s and 70s, amateur DI wiring additions, yikes, and a complete lack of modern GFCIs near water sources. Listen, these aren't just minor inconveniences. They are massive fire hazards. Aluminum wiring, for example, requires specialized crimp connectors just to prevent oxidative overheating. If you want the full technical breakdown on these panels, check the post on mobilehomefriend.com.
Section 4, Red Flags and Real Costs. Now, I really want to walk you through this 2026 cost transparency data so you know the exact financial consequences of a bad inspection. Let's look at these ranges because they are eye-opening. A complete foundation releveling, that can run you anywhere from $1,200 to $4,500. A full PEX repipe to replace that dangerous polybutylene we just talked about, $3,000 up to $7,500. A complete HVAC replacement can easily hit $9,000. And a rubber roof overlay, that can cost up to $8,000. The reality is, if you buy a home with multiple hidden red flags, you are instantly underwater on your investment. You literally have to deduct these exact numbers directly from your initial purchase offer.
So once your inspector has crawled the underbelly, checked those subfloors, and opened up the electrical panel, here is what you do. I want you to look them right in the eye and ask this highly revealing question, face to face. Ask them, would you personally buy this specific home at this price point? Their immediate reaction, whether it's hesitation, warnings, or absolute confidence, will tell you exactly how they view the asset's true risk profile. It is, without a doubt, simply the best question you can possibly ask.
Ultimately, doing a proper mobile home inspection is really just an exercise in risk management. You absolutely have to look past the cosmetic trap to protect your capital from hidden structural failures. You need to evaluate the first principles engineering, right? The chassis, the water barriers, the mechanical systems, all of that before you fall in love with a fresh coat of paint. As we emphasize on the Mobile Home Friend website, the most expensive home is often the one that looked cheapest to buy. So before you sign your name on the dotted line, you really have to ask yourself, are you actually securing a solid long-term investment, or are you just buying a really expensive temporary fresh coat of paint? Thanks for watching. For more guides and the full article on this topic, head over to mobilehomefriend.com. Don't forget to check the links in the description below.
Thanks for watching. For more technical guides on this topic, click the link to see the in-depth article over at mobilehomefriend.com. There are many more informational dives into manufactured home topics to investigate and keep your project moving forward.